Divergent by Veronica Roth. In a world that was destroyed except for a small town run by 5 factions: Atrodite, the intelligent; Abnegation, the selfless; Candor, the honest; Amity, the peaceful; and Dauntless, the brave. Each faction has a job to contribute to the city. But meanwhile, a 16-year-old Beatrice Pryor is growing up, and soon she will have to take her aptitude test to tell her which faction she belongs in. She's worried that her test results will tell her to leave her family, but even more worried they will tell her to have to stay. Read this book to find out what happens.
My book is Holes, written by Louis Shaw. Stanley Yelnats was unjustly sent to a camp for committing a crime he didn't do. This camp is called Camp Green Lake, where the kids spend all day, every day, on a dried-up lake, in the hot sun, digging 5-foot deep, 5-foot wide holes. This supposedly helps build character. Stanley soon figures out the camp director, the warden, is making them dig for a lot more than to build character. Stanley and his new friend, Zero, try to find what could be hidden underneath the dried-up lake. Will Stanley and Zero discover the hidden item? Or will they be bitten by the deadly yellow-spotted lizard? Read this book to find.
The title of my book is Kid Owner. The author who wrote my book is Tim Green. Ryan never knew his dad, and then one day he got a phone call saying his dad had died, so he wanted to play football. In his dad's will, it said that when he died, Ryan would own the Dallas Cowboys because his dad had owned it. But then Ryan's mean stepmom said that her son would own the team. So they decided that the two boys would play each other in a middle school football game, and whoever won would own the team. But whoever won still didn't own the team because the coach still owned 20% of the team. You should read this book if you really like football. You should also read this book to find out if Ryan will own the Dallas Cowboys or if his stepbrother will own the team.
Nuclear jellyfish of New Jersey. It is about nuclear jellyfish that attack a water park, and 3 kids get trapped in the water park. And the nuclear jellyfish feed on neon lights, and when they turn off the lights, they explode.
Big Nate Say Goodbye to Dark City. Illustrated by Lincoln Pierce. Nate is a 6th grade kid who is the best cartoonist at PS38 and has crazy adventures with Francis and Teddy, his friends. Marcus is a popular kid at the school. Nate wants to join the club and he makes it in the club, but now he wants out. Will he get out or will he say goodbye to Dark City? Give the book to see if Nate can survive Marcus and get his friends back, or will he say goodbye to Dark City?
The title of the book is The Dreamer by Pam Munafarian and Peter Sis. In the book The Dreamer, it's about Neftali, the main character, and his family. Neftali isn't treated the nicest by his dad, but his stepmom, Mama Dre, is really nice to him and everyone. Neftali is one brother Rodolfo and one sister Loretta. Neftali's dad wants him to be exactly like his older brother, but he's nothing like his older brother. People at school bully him a lot. He goes many places with his family and discovers many things, and he hopes to find a friend that understands him and is nice to him and caring to him. Read this book to find out if he will meet the love of his life. Will his dad let him go to an expensive palace he has been dreaming about? Read this book to find out.
My book is The Dreamer, written by Paula's own Ryan. In the book The Dreamer, a kid named Ryan had a dream. Ryan dreamed about him and his father were sailing on a boat to go to a trip. They were on summer break when the dream came to his mind. It was about summertime when the dream came to his mind. They wanted to sail to a place called Hidden Treasures to be rich. On the way there, they had hit a rock.
The title of this book is What Was the Gold Rush? Written by Joanne Hubble, illustrated by Tim Tomlinson. In this book, everybody rushes to California to find gold and get rich. The biggest piece of gold ever found was blank pounds. They still have gold rushes today. Miners use pickaxes, shovels, and other mining tools to do their work. Miners normally took their lunches in paper bags and ate it while they were mining. You should read this book to find out how big the biggest piece of gold was. This book is interesting for people who are interested in history.
In the book, what was the Boston Tea Party? British government said it was unfair to power the taxes on the colonists. They also poured steaming hot tar on them and then covered them with feathers after to humiliate them. A bunch of kids once saw British guards and thought it was right to throw rocks at them.
The title of my book is Unsinkable by Gordon Corman. In the book, Paddy Burns, a young thief in the streets of Belfast, England, thinks his friend Danielle was ruthlessly murdered by the Guhili organization for stealing from them. In order not to get caught, Paddy hides in a crate that is hoisted onto the unsinkable Titanic. On this great voyage to America, Paddy meets 3 caring friends that help him stay hidden from the crew. But all of them must be ready for what is to come. Paddy and his friends must survive a deadly crash and the fact that there is a murderer on board. Read this book to find out if Paddy and his friends survive the thrilling events of the dreadful accident. And will they bring the murderer to justice?
It starts off with Phone, Bone, and Thorn walking around to get money when they meet a boy who Thorn says looks cute. Thorn gets mad and takes Bone and leaves because the boy makes fun of Bone about how big his nose was. Meanwhile, Emma Ben gets ready for the cow race. There's a special cow, and it's supposed to be the fastest cow in the world, the mystery cow. So they all get ready. So do the cows to race. They start racing, they get halfway there, and they get attacked by rat creatures. That's what that thing there is. A whole herd of rat creatures, not just that one. They get chased there until the finish line. Then, Smiley Bone reveals himself as being the mystery cow. So Phony Bone and Smiley Bone get in trouble for making a fake cow and competing in the race.
My book is If I Were You by Leslie Margelicious. This book is about two best friends named Melody and Kaylee who are dying to have each other's lives. It's becoming the end of summer and they still have their same old lives. But one day when they're on a bus coming home from their favorite beach, they see each other on the bus. They are wishing to be each other again. But then the next thing they know, they're in each other's bodies. They start the summer over again just as a different person. They are both having so much fun in each other's bodies. They go swimming, they go hiking. When Katie is in Melody's body, she figures out that Melody has been hiding something from her all along. She has a big secret that no one has known. When they find the flaws of their new lives, it gets really hard for them. It gets really hard for them at this time. They just want their old lives back. But how? Read If I Were You by Leslie Margolicious to find out if Melody and Katie get their old lives back. You should also... Oh my god. Read If I Were You by Leslie Margolicious to find out if Melody and Katie get their old lives back. You should also read this because it's a good life lesson to show you that no one's life is perfect.
The Babysitter's Club. The Truth About Stacy by Rihanna Tellemere. In a world where Stacy McCall moves to a new city to find a doctor to help her with her diabetes. Who knows, will they ever find a doctor or will they ever not? Stacy makes 3 great friends. Christy Thomas, Claudia Kishi, and Marianne Spear. They're a great group of friends. The Babysitter's Club makes great crafts with the kids. They get along great and have fun. They may fight a little bit, but they still are great friends. One day the Babysitter's Club meet their match. The Babysitter's Club agency sits for all the kids they sit for. Will they ever find a way to get their kids back and sit for them ever again? Will Stacy McCall find a doctor to help with her diabetes? Will the Babysitter's Club ever meet their match? Read this book to find out. The book I chose is The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. Alex and Connor Bailey are just regular school kids until their grandmother gives them a magical book. Walk their adventures in the fairy tale world of accidentally falling into a fairy tale world. Follow Alex and Connor Bailey on their adventure in the fairy tale world as they try to collect everything for the wishing spell to send them home. In the book, you will meet 2 regular school kids that go on death-defying adventures to get home.
The book I'm reading is called Agami by R.J. Pellis. There are 2 boys. One name was Julian and the other one was Jack Will. The new boy name was Augie, and he had facial problems. Their school name was Beecher Prep. Julian bullied Augie because of his face. Julian did mean things like called him names like freak and made up this game called the Plague, where you had 30 seconds to wash your hands or you caught the plague. Find out if Julian makes the school normal again or he bullies Augie for the rest of his life.
The title of my book is Dog Tags Prisoners of War by C. Alexander London. This book is about a 17-year-old army medic named Joe Rivera in the middle of World War II. After being knocked out by a tree branch, he finds himself alone with a Nazi dog we can barely trust. With all the Americans taken prisoner, he will attempt to save them with this Nazi dog. Alone in an enemy territory, he will have to survive with a dog that can rip him to pieces. If he can save the Americans, he will finally prove he's a great soldier. Read this book to find out if Miguel will learn to trust this dangerous dog. Read this book to find out if Miguel can teach an old dog new tricks.
The title of this book is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Ender Wiggin is a young genius. He is sent to battle school where he trains to fight the Buggers. The Buggers are an alien race that are ruthless, ready to kill anyone in their path. Ender graduates 2 years early at age 12. He also gets moved to command school 4 years early. Ender meets with a past war hero, Mazer Rackham, to learn strategy in the space battles he will be conducting. Ender fights fake battles to get ready for the real thing. He learns of a weapon called Dr. Device, which is extremely destructive. Ender will command the last attack against the buggers. Will Ender be able to beat the buggers once and for all? And if he does, what other secrets will be uncovered? Read Ender's Game to find out.
The title of my book is Upside Down in the Middle of Nowhere. And Upside Down in the Middle of Nowhere, it starts off in New Orleans. But then Hurricane Katrina comes and it destroys Armani's house. And the flood walls break and then it becomes a big mess. Read this book and find out if they can survive or not.
The title of my book is Jedi Academy by Jeffrey Brown. In the book Jedi Academy, Rowan Novich is on his 3rd year at Jedi Academy and he's super excited. Rowan still has to deal with Krona and Cyrus though. Rowan also has his least favorite teacher as a Jedi mentor. Rowan's love life with Guyana is improving though. Will Rowan survive his 3rd and final year at Jedi Academy? Read this book to find